welcome to the show. It's your girl KD, and we're keeping it real here on the interview live. And we cover all things basketball. Once it's happening here in Jamaica, we are definitely on it. I'm joined today by my two co-hosts, the lovely Colleen Natty and the comedic genius himself, Mr. Willard Wells. Mr. Wells is our tech expert, so he will be operating backstage. Yeah, but I don't know Willie style already. I'm gonna pop in and pop out and pop in and pop out. So yeah, Willie will be with us, momentarily. But we have Colleen Natty here, live and direct. She's not leaving us. She'll be joining us throughout the course of the interview. Hi, Colleen. We're happy to have you as our guest host.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you guys for having me today. It's such an honor to be able to join the interview, as stated before, here to promote basketball, all about basketball in Jamaica. And I'm really honored to be invited to join the team to host this session.
Yeah, I remember you were here a few weeks ago, but in the capacity of a guest as an interviewee. And I remember you spoke about how, we as players and as coaches and administrators, and even the broader Jamaica can work together to, facilitate the growth and development of the sport, because, it's really a collective effort that needs to be achieved in order, if we really, intend to see true growth and development of basketball in Jamaica. And now you're back as a guest host to lend us a helping hand. And, we're humbled and we're grateful to have you back with us once again.
As I said before, I'm really grateful for the invite. I am all about that collective and individual effort. Before you can talk about a team, you have to work on your individual skills in order to improve the team effort. So for me, just being able to even lend a helping hand just to improve your product, which will help to improve awareness of the sport, about players, the activities. I'm really, truly grateful and honored about it. And as I said, this is one of my passions. I'm about that individual collective effort. So anything I can do to help the sport of basketball in whatever form, and I'm available, you guys can always count on me.
Okay, thank you very much, Colleen. Shall we introduce our guests today?
Sure.
To our viewers, I know you have been waiting patiently. Today we have with us one of the best female basketball players in Jamaica right now. She's a former national representative, and she also competed for the Unique Ballers in the local female basketball league. She is currently competing at the University of the West Indies in the Intercollegiate Female Basketball League.
Oi.
Viewers, please help me in welcoming Tracey-Ann Kelly.
Hey.
Hi.
Tracy.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here as well.
Boy, you're hard for reach, though, Kelly. You're hard for God and you're hard for reach. Let me just say for the record.
Busy with schoolwork.
Oh, you're busy with school. Okay, we understand. So, could you just tell the viewers your position and your height, please?
All right. I am 5'6" and I play point guard and shooting guard.
Wow.
Okay. Dual post.
Right.
Okay.
For me, my interest has always been because for the viewers, can you tell us what conference do you represent? Where do you play? Because most would assume that you're from Southern.
No, I'm from Western, Trelawney.
Right. So with that being said, even growing up, I hardly heard of Western basketball except probably for the male aspect. So when I heard of your team, I was quite surprised, much as to see the skill set of your team. So for me, I would want to know what inspired you, at what age did you start to play basketball, and what inspired or motivated you to actually pursue the sport of basketball, especially in the Western region?
All right, well, I'll speak, my club, like you're already aware of, is the Unique Ballers Club out of Trelawney. Well, I started surprisingly, I think at about age 19 thereabout. And that was after I completed Michael Teachers College, right? I generally would have played netball. That was my skill set, basically. And my club coach, which is Everton Travers, we started a netball team, and the numbers were dwindling. We were losing players. And he said, like, guess what? We have 5 of us here, 5 players that only take to play basketball. And then he started teaching us the sport. And that was how I developed as a basketball player. And that's how my team in particular developed in Western Trelawney.
Wow. So you didn't start playing basketball until you were 19 and you're that
Nope.
good.
There.
Wow. So no high school
Right.
ball. Just say, did you play
Nope.
at Michael?
I experimented. I think I played for 1 year, but like I said before, I'm originally a netball player, so the skill set from netball was what I basically used for the sport. And I saw a drive to actually play, and I guess being a competitor, I guess the fact that I was not able to contribute as much as I would have wanted to, when you see players out there who are dominating the court, and I said, no man, I want to be like this particular player. And like I said before, I still did not take up the sport. It was just as a result of coming from the whole netball thing, because I still wasn't playing the game. Came down, completed my years at Michael. We were there training to say, all right, then we're going to form a netball team. That wasn't working out. And then we just decided to go with basketball. And that was just where we evolved as a team and as individual players as well.
Right.
You were a center in netball or a wing attack?
Wing attack, center, goal attack.
Okay.
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell. You have the speed and the quickness. So, talk to us some more about your club. We know you represented the Unique Ballers, but what does the Unique Ballers represent? What do you guys represent?
The name speaks for itself, unique players. Because nobody on the team actually played basketball, and that is what made us different from every other team. The fact that nobody grew up in the sport. Everybody learned sports later in life. And when we started out, we just started playing the sport, actually, we did not have anybody to compete against. We played against males. We journeyed all over Jamaica to play basketball, and most of the teams that we actually played against were male teams. So we traveled near and far just to get the exposure in the sport. And we went to watch a game at Cricket Club in Montego Bay. And somebody said to us, there's a female league here in Mobay. And we said that, never know about that. We have been playing ball and we didn't know that there was actually a league existing. And we decided to say, guess what, we're going to try for the league. And that was where we actually started. So we played in the league, we won. I think we played about 3 years before the league deteriorated. And then I knew Mr. Natty through a friend, and I got in contact with him, and I said to him that I wanted to play because the love for the game had started to grow. So I said to him I wanted to play ball. My team journeyed to Kingston. That was before we even participated in the Kingston League. And they played the game. Again, they were amused by how we looked as a team, and like they must say, no, sir, this is a team I can't come from country. No players outside of Kingston, because at that point, I guess players who had any talents per se in the sport or displayed any form of skill were living in Kingston. So I guess everybody was looking into that. No man, I want to come from. I can't Jamaica or like that, because we didn't look like ordinary basketball players and all of that. And we were introduced to the female league that is hosted in Kingston, and we journeyed on Saturdays during the course of the week from Trelawney here all the way into Kingston to participate. That was how much we love the sport. And we trained in the mornings, we trained in the afternoons. As a team, you had individual trainings with the coach just to improve on your skill set and all of that.
All right, I'd like to just backtrack a bit. You had said that when you were at the Michael, you would have watched various players and have been inspired. Any player comes to mind at this moment who you'd have said assisted or motivated you to pursue the sport of basketball?
Obi. Obi Peterson. She was one player who stood out more than anybody else during that period. And that was how I met her as a basketball player. We did not actually speak until I started playing the sport, actually, but that was where I saw her, and I heard more about the fact that there's actually a national program for basketball and all of that. But she was the most dominant player during that period, presenting the University of the West Indies as well.
Okay. Another question in regard, because I remember when the unique ballers took the scene at stadium, you guys were, as you said, unique, creative, well skilled, and to be honest, you guys had mad ball handling skills. That's something that many female ballers do not have or attribute. So if you could just walk us through to some of your regular training routines that your coach would have put you through. How often did you train? How often did you work on your fundamentals? Did he utilize the beef method? You know, what were some of the ball handling skills that you would have utilized to improve your hand? Because it wasn't just you or your other teammates like Zandria. It was like everybody had a certain high level of ball handling skills that was just never seen for an entire female team.
Well, for us, for ball handling drills, we would go like most of the time if we have a ball handling, we had days that were assigned just to work on skill sets specifically for ball handling. We were working with one ball, with two balls, going through different cones set up to improve on our skill. We have drills where we could only lose one particular hand to get to the basket. We had drills where players will know that you can only have the ball in one hand and they have to defend you. Yeah, drills where we had both players, you were playing defense, but you had to be dribbling the ball at the same time. So we had a lot of ball handling drills that we did in order to improve on our skill. And at the same time, our training sessions were not just afternoon training sessions. We had trainings in the mornings, especially on Saturdays and Sundays, and in the afternoons. Individually, everybody had a drive for the sport. And as a result of that, you saw where players did not only depend on regular training sessions to improve on their skill. You find where when training is not being held, players are at the court on their own trying to get better. I think that was one of the things that gave us that drive and forced us to become better each day, because at all times we were trying to get better. It's not, the competition was positive competition, because we're saying, I guess what, this player is supposed to be handling the ball better than me. Everybody wanted to be at the same level or even to be the best there. So you found where you're always willing to put in an extra hour. Training is finished and you find where, especially if you had gone through a particular drill and you felt as though you did not execute as you were supposed to, you find where at the end of the training session, you're at it, you're trying to get better, whether you're going to be working on your own or you're going to be working with the coach. Just the same, if you went to a game in particular and you found where you know exactly what it is that you can do as a player and what it is that you're expected to do as a player. And if you found that you did not do all of that the next day, or if you can go home the same day and go to the court of the night, you would have been doing that. The next day, early in the morning again, you'll be at it. So at all times, players were trying to work on becoming a better player, a better individual in the sport.
Yeah, as Colleen said before perfectly, you all were really well skilled in your respective areas. What was the vision behind this super team? Was there a specific vision from your coach, or was this team just formed to compete in the club league?
No, we're trying to go. Well, for one, we realized that players, we're coming from, and I put the country then, and in order for you to get ahead in life, then you need, some of us were coming from backgrounds where we probably will not be able to afford tertiary schooling. So it was a platform for us to actually gain scholarships to move on. Also, we were looking at the international level, because in one year in particular, we're trying to get involved in a league that was hosted in America, just so that players again would have gotten the exposure, and at the same time, if the opportunity presented itself, they would have been able to become a part of a team with a college league, and from there, they would have been able to grow in the league of basketball.
How successful were your various teammates at having those opportunities or those scholarships that you were pursuing? Did anyone receive scholarships?
Definitely. We had Loretta Gordon, who was at GC Foster. We had Tracey-Ann, who was at GC Foster as well. We had San, who's at GC Foster. Loretta eventually left from there and she went international. We have another player who went international as well. So we had several players who, especially where scholarships are concerned, they did benefit. It was just for them to go on the platform and deliver, basically.
Okay, so you can say that your coach's vision and your team vision.
And just to add as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was just saying that also the fact that, similar to what KD said, the fact that wherever we went as a team, we were able to stand out. Everybody knew that, all right, then that's a unique player because there's something that is, like I said before, that is truly unique about how we played as a team.
All right, so I have a random question for you. As I said, ball handling skills in females was not as, at the level that your players were at. What was the first, your feeling, if you can remember, the first time you crossed over a male basketball player and you broke him ankle? Like, how did that make you feel? What was it in front of a crowd? Can you give us, walk us through that moment? Because it's always such a big thing. Because I think you guys did it in Kingston, and I remember persons were running on the court. But if you could just walk us through, that perspective from your perspective, how did that feel? How did it happen? Did you see it before it happened? Did you anticipate it? It's always good to hear this perspective. So if you could share that, we'd appreciate it.
Not what we need to hear this.
But it's funny. It's funny because most of the times, like I said before, we started out against males. And the first thing that comes to a male's mind is that, they're a female, so chances are they're not good. So oftentimes when they approach us as female, they approach us as though, well, them can't do too much because a female. So that was one of the easiest things for us to do, cross up players, because we know what we can do as players, and we're calling it a bossy type of player. We just go out humble and just do a thing. So the first time when it happened for me, I was elated and I felt good, but I'm not one of those players who show emotions a lot. So I didn't really jump or anything of that sort, but I knew me say, yeah, man, I think never they come. That's basically what I would have said, and just continue with the game and all of that. Like nothing will really happen.
Right, but didn't you have the after talk with your players? Like, guys,
well, yeah, definitely would have. Yeah, man, we definitely would have spoken about. The good thing about our team is that every game that we played, they were recorded as a club team. So we always use that as a way to improve our skills. So when we sit back and we watch our videos, pop laugh. That's the time that we probably would have laughed and say, "Watch a funny foot or something like that," or "Get up, boy, get up," or something like that. Because, like I said before, they really did not.
Somebody's
asking any at all because they're my girl.
Right, it's always sweeter when they have that attitude. Oh, you're a girl, you don't know what you're doing. Someone is asking, Tanny B, who was the male player you crossed? Do you remember anyone coming to mind specifically? Or the club that they played for?
Well, like I said before, before they were run, like the first time it happened was when we went to Westmoreland. But those persons would not have known. 1 second, please.
Listen, I remember when the first time they came to stadium, KD. I don't know if you were playing ball at the time, and the first time she put the ball through her leg and she all paused. She gave the Allen Iverson pause and went back around, and the crowd was like, oh my God. It was truly amazing.
Yep, that's how
they do it. Sorry about that.
Right. So we're asking any specific club you'd want to mention in terms of the male players.
Well, like I said before, the male team, the first team that where we had it coming out more than anything else, it was not really a club per se. If they were a club, I was not familiar with the players there. Because like I said before, when we started out, we just went all over, find a court where they had players, and we just played ball because we wanted just to get exposure. But apart from that, it would have been probably right here in my hometown where we have our basketball court where we play every day. And those, again, are players who are probably from different club teams, whether in Trelawney itself or players who come from Montego Bay to play here with us.
Okay.
Okay, so did you know that your team or you when did you know that you were good? Like when did it occur to you that hey, I'm one of the best female basketball players in Jamaica right now? When did that occur to you?
That haha
When did that
moment.
hit
Well,
you?
the first time for me, the ha moment came when I asked, and in spite of the fact that we played in Montego Bay, and believe me, we knew and we felt that we were good, but I guess this thing where you have as players where you say and I guess it's such a funny thing that we're from the country. We knew we were great players, but and it's not just me, but I think for my entire team as well, the first chance that we got to play in Kingston. And in spite of the fact that we did not win the game, because when we went there, everybody is like butterflies. What was the first match I
Right.
played in basketball, and I felt so nervous. And it took us a while. I mean, we went through like one entire quarter, and it felt as though we couldn't find it. And the things that we would do normally, it's like it was so difficult. And the coach had to call a time, but then he said that, "Oh, I'm going with you now. This is not the unique team that we have. Like, you guys don't play like that. You guys don't look like that playing. So you guys need to figure what's going on in your heads because you guys have it." And I mean, we went back out there and we played our hearts out. And I felt great because I was able to cross up players who are
Yeah.
big ballers in Kingston and they were a part of the club league that already existed in Kingston. And then when the game was finished and players were saying, "No man, you can come up here and come participate in this league," because like I said before, we saw that league as being an elite league.
Mm-hmm.
So being offered the chance to participate in it and also getting props or all of that from players who were dominant, it felt really great.
Right. We could definitely say that you definitely put Trelawney on the map. People were actually looking at Trelawney as a good,
That's
viable
true.
source, as well as looking at your coach for potential coaching of young players. We have a question from our audience. Person's asking, you mentioned earlier how difficult it was to find team to play against in Trelawney, which led your team to play against boys. Would you say things are better now in Trelawney regarding basketball?
Well, to some extent, we have the school league has become a filtered program. So we have more schools within this area that actually participate. And like I said before, our courts is the dominant court for basketball within this area. So we have more players, whether male or female, who will come out to the court, especially like on a Saturday or on a Sunday afternoon, the best day to go to the court. You go there, you probably don't even have a chance of playing because of the amount of persons who are there. So right now, and I think the program here in Trelawney has grown because apart from players, female players from my club team, we had started a male team as well, where we had players who represented, and we also have players who are representing even now within the school league itself.
Okay, that's excellent to hear. Question, more on your journey of coming to Kingston. In regards to the finances, you guys had to find your own way here. How did that go? Did you get sponsorship? How did you travel? Did you have your own bus? Did you charter? Did you ask community persons to pitch in and carpool? What was that whole experience like?
Like I said before, it was a journey that we all wanted. And our coach, we have to give him all the props. Everything was through him. We started out where we started renting buses, and that was pretty expensive, and everything was coming from him. We didn't have access to any sponsors here. Nobody sponsored us and all of that. Everything came from pocket of our coach. Jersey, everything. Coming into Kingston, we would have rented buses. After a while, that was a little bit tedious. Surprisingly, he got a makeshift bus, which was not so expensive. So we were able to actually get the bus to buy that we used. So the only thing that we had to worry about at that point was just to get gas to journey in Kingston. And we were able to make it through the league I think we entered there for about 2 years or 3 years. I don't remember exactly. And we were never late for a game. We were always present for our matches and all of that. And like I said before, our coach really made it happen for us as players.
Right. So you said that your coach was definitely the driving force behind your team, your success, and your constant motivation to play, as well as your own inner drive and your teammates' drive. That's a very
Definitely.
interesting and motivating story, to be honest with you. Is he still involved in the game of basketball? Is he still actively involved in your community? And I know that Jabba said they were interested in starting up back a female league. Would you say that we should be looking out for the unique ballers to participate?
Well, for that part, I will not say if you should look out back for the uniballers, but for the coach, he's still active in the sport. He's not here locally with us, he's in the States. But however, best he can assist us as individual players on our quest for greatness, or collectively, he does that. So, like for example, for me now, before I started at UWE, I was completely out of shape because I wasn't playing. And if I did play, it was not as something that I was the way I am accustomed to playing ball. It was just, I play a ball game today, the next week or two before I actually go back on a court and all of that. And he actually facilitated me during this period, knowing that, yes, I got through to go back to school and all of that. Put me through training sessions, whether online, like send me videos and say, all right, then this is what I need to work on for this area and all of that. So he has always been there for us as players, trying to help us to get where we want to get in life.
Okay.
Okay. So Tracy, who was the toughest player that you had to play against in the local female basketball league?
Okay, well, I guess for me, I guess you had different teams. So like, for example, when I went up against, I think it was Mr. Natty's team, would have been Obi, who I knew I had to go up against. When I went up against, I think it was Cougars, that's Sasha's team. Right,
Yeah.
so I had Sasha as a player. So I guess those were the two players for me in particular, and those were the two teams that we really had any form of challenge with playing throughout the season.
Okay. If you were to play in the league now, is there any specific coach that you would want to train or be a part of their program? Any coach that comes to mind?
Well, no, to be honest, I guess I will. If it is, no, give me the question before I even respond, please.
Is there any specific coach or any specific team that you would want to play with if the league was to happen now? Even if they're
Uniballers all
retired?
the way. I am a die-hearted uniballers all the way. So there is no other team that I would. So the first thing I would probably try to do is to figure out if it is that as a team, if we could get back. Because right now we don't really have our regular training sessions. Like I said, we might have 2 or 3 persons or 4 on the team where we still work out together. But if there was a league to start right now, I wouldn't be jumping to go on a team. I would be jumping to find my team members and find out, hey, it's something I want. Can we go back? And is that something that we can do? So that would be it for me.
So do you have a program or semblance of a program in place right now that is on the rise that could be used as a platform for developing back your club?
Well, yes, because like I said before, all that we do as a team, most of the times they're recorded. So we have that. And though our coach is not here with us right now, I know that if the league is to start and it is that we're supposed to enter, we will have him there with us all the way.
Okay. All right. So we'd like to start to talk to you about your national team experience. What was the training like? And in comparison to your unique ballers training session, did you find that it was comparative? Did they raise the stakes? Did it force you to improve, as well as playing with the other players? How did that improve? Tell us about your experience.
Well, for me, it was a great experience to actually represent the country. The training sessions were hectic. Well, skill-wise, to be honest, I don't think I would say that I would have learned much new skill sets from being a part of the training sessions that we have had as a national team. Those were just reinforced for me. And like for, I think, for me, it would be more fitness then, because the excessive running or the repetition of doing a particular drill and all of that, that would have, I guess, make you a little bit more tired than normal. So for me, I think that was the shift for me in regards to my club training session and the national training session in particular.
Okay. What were the tournaments that you participated in for the national team, and what countries did you visit as well?
Mexico and Puerto Rico.
Right.
You have that accent though, Kelly. You have the Puerto Rican
Ah,
accent. What would you
you don't have
say?
the roll of the tongue.
Uh, what would you say are some of the strengths and weaknesses of the national program?
Uh, I think development of players because for one, it's not an ongoing process. So the team only meets like 2 or 3 weeks before a tournament. And as a result of that, as a team, it's obvious that we have little or no chemistry as a team going out there. So you don't really know your teammates to that extent where, okay, you know that this player always run in that area or look for this player on top of the key or something like that. So that is one of the major breakdown with the national program, the fact that there is no continuous training that takes place for players, and as a result of that, you find where players are not growing. Then so you find within the league, if it is that you're not working on your particular skill set on your own, then whatever. And also you find where, as local players, there's not a league that really a consistent league because, like I said, the female league has been out for years.
Right.
And that should have been like a feeder program to the national program. And I guess not having a national league within the country as well, that kind of shows then that there's nothing much being done to facilitate the growth of female basketball here in Jamaica.
Would you say there are persons now in Trelawney who are being overlooked or are able to play on the national level and they currently don't have the opportunity because they are based in the Western region?
Well, for female wise at this point, I guess apart from persons who are a part of my club team, which I think most, if not all, persons who are part of the national team are aware of. I don't think that there are, well, I can't speak for everybody because there's no league going on here. I don't really know what is happening at the high school level to a large extent. To say that the female league in the high school as well is not so, that's it, the league is not so mature then, in the sense that you don't find a lot of players who are skilled or players who understand the game participating. You find more where, the league is starting, you might pick up 1 or 2 netball players. So I think overall, I think the female league is fading, and it all comes back to the fact that whether locally, within communities, or at the national level, you don't really see too much happening to develop players. And like I said before, I guess for us, we were one of the lucky ones to really have a coach that had a vision and was willing to work with us. And might I say, I'm not sure if you have so many females as well who are so interested in the sport. Like, and like I said before, like people like Sasha and I can talk of players on my club team where the drive has always been there and you will do anything to become better as a player. I'm not sure if we have a lot of that. And if we do, I don't think enough is being done to really bring them out and to get them to be at their best.
Right. You said you represented Jamaica in both Mexico and Puerto Rico. You want to expound on those experiences? What were some of your proudest moments? What did it feel like to play against the crowd? I know Puerto Rico, for example, playing against their crowd, they're very loud and very involved, kind of sometimes aggressive. Can you just walk us through both of your experiences playing in Mexico and playing against the host team, as well as how different were the two experiences in Mexico versus Puerto Rico?
Well, getting there, I was nervous, and having watched like the start, because I did not start for the first trip that I went on, I didn't start for the game. When we went there and you saw how the teams looked, the players were playing and all of that, it's like right then and there saying, boy, I'm going to go on the court, because it's like you start doubting yourself, thinking that maybe you're not good enough to compete at that particular level. But getting the opportunity to go on court, the first thing I started to think about, guess what? the fact that I'm privileged to get here, to reach on the court, I have to go out there and try to do my best. And once I went on court, I tried to do enough to stay on and do enough to actually represent as a Jamaican player, and also not just for a Jamaican player, but to represent for my club team as well, knowing then that, yeah, it is as a result of that why I'm here. So I try my very best to play the game to the best of my ability, to stay on and to ensure that at the end of the day, coming off, I will feel proud to know that I didn't just go on the court, but I actually contributed while I was there. We played, being in Mexico, we actually played against several teams. It's not just one team, you know, it's the league. So Puerto Rico was there as well. So we played against Puerto Rico while in Mexico. At the same time in Puerto Rico, I think I loved their team. I love their players, extremely fast. And I guess when you look at me, say, you think you're fast, but you say, no man, you're a player, they move like lightning. So again, when you watch these players play, you say, no man, we really need to have more training sessions where as players, it's not just to have the skill, but it's to be able to go out there and to put it into practice. And I guess that comes with additional training session to develop as players.
All right.
Okay. Oh, you can go ahead, Colleen. You can go ahead.
Right. So I was able to get some stats for the Puerto Rico Central tournaments where we saw that you played against the U.S. Virgin Islands and we won that. We played against Trinidad and Tobago and we also won. However, we were not able to beat Mexico or the Puerto Rican team. You mentioned that it was because of their speed as being one of the reasons, but was there any other contributory factors that you'd say didn't allow us to be as competitive with those teams? Because in the Puerto Rico game, it was 53-82 for the Puerto Rico.
No man, apart from the speed that they had, they were playing in unison. They knew it's apparent that they knew each other as players. So they know that, guess what? My big man is there. Want to pass the ball down there, that player will dominate whoever is there. You had the players who were dominant on top of the key. So, and they knew where to find individual players. They had a strong defensive team as well. So it's not just the speed that they had, but as a team, they were able to work collectively. And at the same time, you found where their level of basketball game, to me, it was way above what we had as a team.
Right. Okay, so from us on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate their skill level to our team at that time when you compared the two?
At that point, probably it would be like at about 5.
So we were halfway
Not
there.
overall.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay. Right.
So Kelly, how did you get involved in the national program? Did you get a call? Did you get an email? How was that communicated to you?
Well, to be honest, I don't remember how it was communicated, but I knew that it was after we began participating in the league in Kingston. Then that was where it actually started.
Okay.
So if you can jog our memory, that Super League, I think it was 2011, 2012, the Java Mega Mart Super League, where you took Kingston by storm. When everybody started to come out just to see the country team beat the Kingston girls. I believe you made it to the finals that year. I think you were playing against
the first year we did, right?
Right, that was the first year. How did you feel about that? Did you win that tournament at the time?
No, we lost.
Okay, so can you just tell us what would you have changed if you had the opportunity to change? Where did you think were some of your weaknesses and how could you have improved, and proudest and worst moments for that series?
All right, to be honest, there are no regrets coming from the league. And I'll say that to say that that was our first year at that level. And we came there and we never underestimated any of the teams that we had to go up against. And like I said before, our two main rivals would have been Walgrovian and Cougars, right? That's Sasha's team. I keep forgetting it. Right. We thought we would have won that game. We thought we had it in our pocket to some extent, in the sense that I think it was a best. I don't remember what happened, but
best of 3.
We felt as though we were ready. I don't remember it right. I thought, and I think that was probably our shortcoming, the fact that knowing our individual skills as players, and the fact that collectively we were even worse in the sense that we knew each other as players and we had a chemistry as a team. So I think that was where we probably fell short in the sense that we were working on, we went home and we prepared for the game and all of that, but Mr. Natty came and it's like that game I remember distinctively came. I think they had one particular player who we did not see coming. I think that was what changed everything. I don't remember her name, but she was a player. She played like normally, not a key player like you probably didn't say, yeah, you have to look out for Obi. And that was the thing. So we knew exactly who we were looking out for as a team, but that one player we were looking out for her. And the first quarter, we saw we were like, she a shoot, and we say, no man, this not right. And we made like back-to-back shots straight in, and we said, no man. And it's like, I don't know if that kind of mess with our heads or what, but I mean, that particular game, even after the game, every second we keep saying it, that because we had persons who were assigned to defend players, and nobody was assigned to her because nobody saw her coming at all. And it's like, though when we changed our defense set to get rid of that particular player, we found we were, like I said before, we had another player who came shining again. So it's like, I guess they probably thought that we were coming targeting specific players on defense, and they came with a twist, I would say, in the whole thing, and that kind of messed us up. But we were proud of ourselves at the end of the day as a team, because like I said before, nobody knew us, and that was an accomplishment for us. Nobody knew us as a team. Nobody thought we would have gotten that far as a team. And the fact that we were able to come into the league for the first time and we're able to reach to the finals, I think that was a plus on our side.
Okay. And how did you perform for the other 2 seasons?
I think for the second season, we went as far as semifinals and we lost. We lost the semifinal game. I guess it's weird that we participated then, because I knew the only other time that we didn't get to the finals, we lost the semifinal match to, I think it was Cougars, if I'm not lying.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Right.
Okay. So you're now
Or
at the
one,
university.
exactly.
No problem. You're now at the University of the West Indies. Do you play basketball for them? Do you play any sports for them at all? Are you on scholarship?
Basketball, of course. No, I'm not at this point.
Okay, so what would you say? Do you believe the universities are doing enough to help transition players from the high school level to the collegiate level? And if you don't think so, how do you think they could improve on that?
Well, for the league this year, surprisingly, there were only 3 teams. So that says it all, the fact that there's nothing much being done. And I think more can be done because you have players who might be leaving from the high school level, who were already a part of a basketball program, and maybe moving into university, you would want to continue on that quest. So I don't think enough is being done to facilitate that transition from high school into university. And I think what they probably can do, maybe to run mini programs just to sensitize persons to the sport, and at the same time to help players develop as individuals in the game of basketball.
Okay. And at your conference level, what more do you think we could do to help players to transition? You said your coach was the driving force behind your team. Is there any other persons in the community? What about the Western basketball conference persons, the Western Basketball Association? Have engagement been made?
I think that they are trying, because they have had several mini programs to kind of help players who are interested in the sport. You have the basketball league that takes place in St. James as well. But for within the Trelawney area in particular, persons who are a part of my team, along with myself, we have given back in the sense that we have helped within the school league, the high school league in particular, to help with the sport of basketball, because the school that I'm at, I actually helped with their basketball program for about 4 or 5 years thereabouts. And there are other players who have participated in the school league. And also we have players who are assisting with the development of the basketball program within this area.
Right.
Okay, so your university team placed second this year. What were some of the pros and cons of the season?
Well, it was very short. So the fact that it was short, they will really give you enough time to assess your shortcomings to go back. It's like as soon as it started the game, the league is finished. But I think for our team in particular, one of the challenges that we had was really to get started. So I think that is something that we really need to improve on to our training sessions, so we can at least build a chemistry so that when we go on court, we're able to know, like I said, you know your players, you know how they play, you know where to find them and all of that. So I think that was one of the challenges that we had, the fact that our training session began a little bit late and the league was short, so it did not really afford us any room to improve, whether as a team or as individual players. By the time we were growing, that's the end of the league, basically.
Okay.
I think we had some questions, Willie. Could you repost them for Kelly, please? Willie, are you there? All right. So Kelly, the league had a new format. It had a best of 3 format. Was that beneficial for you guys?
It was, though we lost both games, but it was because, like I said before, the first game that we played, the first of the finals that we played, we lost miserably, unfortunately. But for the second game, we actually were able to improve on a few areas of weakness. And you can't really say you came so close but yet so far, but we definitely saw where if we were able to capitalize on our weaknesses a little bit early in the game, then the results could have been different, which could have forced a third game. But like I said, we fell short, and it's just for us to really assess our skill set, assess ourselves as players, and look forward to the next season and try to build on it and see how we go from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, what would be, if you had the power and if your wishes could come true, what would be your vision for female basketball at the national, local, and even at your conference level?
Well, female basketball needs revival. We need to find a way to get it back on the market. And one of the challenges that not just female basketball, but female programs in general have is the lack of support. And I think once we're able to garner some amount of support, whether locally or international, because some of us, we have big links of foreign and people will help us wherever they are. So we just have to find persons who are willing to support our program and to see how best we can go. Because I think, and also we can find a way, because like I said, and I'm always going to use my team as an example, we start from a nothing, and we did not have external support to say, well, we have somebody who will send me money. No, that was something that we did for ourselves. So we don't really need to depend on anybody to provide us with resources. We can probably find a way to get those resources for ourselves, whether we go do some fundraising or do something that can help us to gain funds just to start, create the platform to begin with. And I know for a fact that once you start, it's something that is productive, you will find persons who are willing to come on board. But there has to be somebody or a group or a way to really begin. The growth can start from there, and then we can get the support however possible. For the national program, like I said before, I hope we get to the point where it's not just a 2 weeks come together thing like a little reunion or whatever, but it will become a program that is growing, a program that is ongoing in the sense that, yeah, I know that probably each year or so you might find where you have new players who are joining and all of that, but there has to be a platform in which, as players, you know, so guess what? There's a program that is set. You have training. The training might not have to be every day for now, but at least 2 or 3 days. So as players, you get the chance to grow with your teammates, because that is key. If you have teammates that have no chemistry, there's when you go out there, you're always going to have problem because you don't know. So, all right, then this player is a 3-point shooter, or this player always run the wing like that, or whatever. So there has to be a way in which you can know your players, you can build that chemistry, you can build trust, so that you can grow as a team as well.
Right. I have one more question. The association has been asking persons to come on board and assist, and one of the factors many people have been saying is that it takes cash to care. From your experience and the persons from your circles and the connections that you have, do you believe that is a true deterrent for persons to come and volunteer and assist the program to grow, or do you think it's a fine balancing act?
Repeat that question for me, sorry.
Right. The Jamaica Basketball Association has been asking persons to come on board to assist the program in various ways or in various positions. Many persons have been saying it takes cash to care. However, listening to your unique and motivational story, it shows that all it takes is one motivated person to find a group of highly motivated women or athletes to come and join a movement and basically take Jamaica by storm with your talent and skill set. So I'm asking, from your circle, who you know, who you interact with, do you really believe the whole concept of cash to care is a true deterrent from growing the sport of basketball? Or are there persons who love the sport enough, who are willing to volunteer, whether it's a 1 day a week, 1 day a month, to come and help the sports grow? Do you believe that you still have persons now in this time, especially during COVID-19 time and all that's happening? Do you believe we could galvanize, you know, Jamaican basketball supporters, fans of Jamaica basketball, to come and give us with their time, seeing that cash is a problem?
You have one right here. I've always volunteered. So it is something that persons, and I know persons who would have been willing to. And Mr. Natty has always said to me that because he knows that the passion I have for the sport. And he always, all right, when we start a mini program, you know, Kelly, we're going to need your help down that side or whatever. And I said, hey, no problem. For my school that I assisted, I told him that I'm not doing this for pay. I'm not being paid. And I asked him, well, I said, no, I'm good, because I love the love and passion I had for the sport, or have for the sport. That is not an option for me to say, oh, I'm only because I need some money. No, because I love the sport and I want to see others developing as players as well. So I do believe that there are persons out there who love the sport and who are willing to sacrifice a day or 2 days,
right,
to give back, and are willing to see the sport of basketball, because we do have persons who are talented and we do have persons who can grow in the sport. We just need persons to help to make this a reality.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for that answer. And trust me, your answer has really motivated, inspired to continue this movement. I certainly know the interview squad is rather enthusiastic. At this time, we'd like to invite Gary Reed back onto the program to ask any questions that he may have.
I'm just loving the vision. I like to see the females. I know that the viewers are saying girls power, and we always try to push that. No problem about that. But before I put my question forward, I see Shanika Smith. I've been asking this question for a while now. So Jamak interview question for the request. Does she believe that we have the right people in place of power that is doing the right to help grow the national program? Tracey-Ann.
May have to ask the question again.
Tracey-Ann, you hearing me?
No, so just give me a second, please.
No problem. I mean, Gary, listening to the story of how the unit ballers came into being, as well as her story of basically a net baller to a talented basketball player, where she's telling us many persons from her team was able to go overseas and wear the national colors and even get scholarship to our local universities. So many times we do not realize that scholarships are available locally. So even if you don't get to go overseas, there are many local opportunities for you to get. You just have to work on your skill sets, be highly motivated, and tap into the right resources.
And most definitely, as we have been saying for quite some time, basketball is acting like it's a big secret. These are things we need to get out there to tell them that you don't have to play for NBA if you're a male or WNBA. It's a chance for you to get an education, which is, as we know for a fact, that is so important. It can be international, it can be local. Basketball, I think, offer the third most scholarship in Jamaica. So these are things we need to get out there. So a child in high school playing basketball is not a joke thing as just go out and play. It's an opportunity for your parents to not go in their pocket and pressure and get that big loan, and then afterwards student bureau go put your picture in a green and tell you come pay back the money. Is a good way to get that little thing. We know for a fact that Tracey-Ann is extremely talented. She's not on scholarship. However, she keep telling you about persons who she know in her circle who have got that opportunity. So just by sharing that information might inspire somebody to say, you know what, there's a future through this. Tracey-Ann, before I go further, Shanika might be pulling out her ear because she asked this question about 20 minutes ago. She's basically asking you, do you believe that we have the right persons in place to run the national program? What will you say to that?
That's a tough question. And I don't think that's a question that I might be able to answer because I am not with the national program for a while, in the sense that I don't know who is in charge. I have not interfaced with the program for the past probably 5 years, not after my injury with my knee. So if I say yes or no, I think I'll be lying. So I don't think I am in a position to really
yes, I totally understand. But ladies, I came into the broadcast because I heard a few things that I want to mention. You mentioned earlier that nothing new was taught when you went to the national program. It's like just a refreshing process. And when I hear that, I kind of stop and I'm wondering, should I cuss the coach or should I look at that our talent, our ability? They really have to go back to basic with some of our players, because it can be a two-way street, Colleen. But I'm saying sometimes we emphasize and put a lot of pressure on the coach, but it's what they really have to work with. So is it a case, Tracey-Ann, that when you went to that camp, the other players could already do the fundamentals, and the coach didn't want to move to advanced level, or it was a case that you see why he must to start up reverse layup, 1-2 layup left hand, and all of these things? What was your observation at the camp?
Well, naturally, most time you go there, they will start with the basic. I guess the basic is just used to offset to see what it is that you can do as a player. But as it relates to, for me, or skill-wise, not that I'm saying that I am extremely skilled or whatever, but as it relates to...
people that talk, man, you're good, man. Easy. Don't listen, man.
Listen, don't do that. You are, trust me, you are. Trust us. It was one of the best displays I've seen.
Okay. Yeah, finish up, Tracey, and you were saying,
So what I'm saying is that as it relates to the offering of skills wise, I don't think that was something that was new, because most of the programs that we are introduced to in our club are international programs, in the sense that certain drills that are done, we say, okay, that's a drill that I've done before or whatever. So those were things that I was kind of exposed to. Like I said before, it was just reinforcement or to become better. As it relates to probably knowledge of the game, maybe yes, I would say yes, I would have gained a better understanding of the sport in itself, like probably how to move, playing positions and all of that. But as it relates to becoming a skiller player, then I would not have gotten that from the program. But there are other things that I would have benefited from as a result of being a part of the program.
Kimoya mentioned to you, and I think Colleen also mentioned to say that, when was the wow that you know that you were good? And I was like, yeah, good question. But I'm looking back even personally on myself to realize that sometimes it's not even about the wow or good you are, but when you develop that love. Because sometimes you realize that the sport need not just the persons who are extremely talented and gifted, but the person who have that love for the sport. what gravity, what brought you to get that love? It was really your teammate, your coach love, or just the whole atmosphere that you feel comfortable? Because I think persons forgot about that social aspect when they come on to basketball. What makes someone want to stay there and continue to reach to higher heights? So
I think for
what did
me,
it for you?
well, it was my teammates, my club team in particular. 'Cause like I said before, that was where I was introduced to the sport. And getting introduction at that stage and being with players who themselves were extremely talented. And I remember one training session, because when we had training session, it's like we went up against each other as players. And everybody, like I said before, your passion grew there. Nobody wanted to lose. Nobody wanted to lose. Like any of those, we had one-on-one games. And maybe like a line up one after the other. So if I was on court, for example, I would play one player. If I won, I would stay on somebody's come on and all of that. And I would pick who I want to challenge. So once you lose, then dog never up after that. You have to do some form of drill or something. And like I said before, I remember when I played once and I lost. And it's like, I felt completely down. It's like, I said like, like probably I said, well, I need to do more. And then it's like, I started to train. And I said that when everybody is asleep, you're up training just the same. And I train and I train and I trained. Whether by myself or I get somebody to come to the court with me or with my coach. And each like I developed a passion for the sport. I watched games, trying to understand the sport. We had this little table thing that we used where we used stone, and we went through like it's like you play chess then. You play chess basketball. So like you put the players on court and you say, all right then, how you would then move here, so and how it's like that was how far I had gone in the sport, where everything for me was basketball. I'm in my room and have my ball, I practice dribbling, practice the skill set for shooting and all of that. So it's like being a part of a team like that where you are going up against players who are good as well, and they motivate you, because we motivated each other to become better players. And it's like everybody had each other's back basically. So we did all that we could to help players to move from one level to the other. And as a team, we grew a passion for the game of basketball.
Oh,
Okay.
I tell you.
Do you see a next Tracey-Ann Kelly coming up? Is there a young player that you admire now?
Female-wise, no, I'm not familiar with any female at this point who is actually in the sport per se. Away from Matthew, but no young female. I'm not really familiar. There's none around me at this point. No.
Lovely interview. I just like the story. I like how she mentioned that they travel back and forth. I didn't get a chance to get the coach name who you said after dipping his pocket and rent bus. Because I know renting a bus from Trelawney to Kingston is quite you
Not
get
funny.
me? Yeah, you big him up again once more. What's his name?
Everton Travers.
Everton Travers, and we like when persons contribute. I'm not saying you're supposed to dip in your pocket and put your family at take out the food out of their mouth, but when you find someone who give that love and can motivate a Tracey-Ann Kelly to come and display her talent and skill, it's always a good thing. So I love the interview. Any more words for Tracey-Ann, Colleen, or Katie?
Yeah.
Willie.
I'm not Colleen or Katie, but
Okay.
I just want to say something. Your coach him usually play basketball.
Well, yes, he played the sport as well.
Okay,
Really?
cause I'm just wondering how a coach is gonna take a 19-year-old netball and turn her into such a beast. Cause
No.
I have a video when I want to show. I don't know if I can show it. For everybody can see, say, I don't know, joke thing. This girl don't ramp on the court.
But go see what I go.
Just look for the person who wants to score.
with a little self a shoot.
Me know, hold on.
We don't went way back.
Me know, see the net, you know when somebody play netball, you say, me know see the netball, you know you.
No netball as well.
No netball at all, a basketball.
And believe me, I don't play that. I don't play netball anymore. I don't see the purpose of playing the sport. And that is so funny because when I started, they said it's me. I said, guess what? When I start playing basketball, they don't win netball. I said, no, I can't give up netball. And I remember when I started and I started growing in the sport, and like friends will come and say, we are going netball. I said, no, I'm not coming. I don't play netball anymore. Like I don't play netball anymore.
Tracy,
Hold on.
hold on, man. I want Tracy, I want to reach out to one of my brethren named Lenky. And then put them a player now. Ask him if something.
Alright, hold on.
Yeah.
But we can't make Tracey-Ann come and with a put on the hot seat. As a matter of fact, all three ladies are going to the hot seat because we love the girls' power. Tracey-Ann, you are KD one-on-one. Who take that?
Why would you even do that?
Tracy, talk to me. Hot seat.
I don't know.
Hot seat.
I've not played again. No, we haven't played like that, so I don't know our skill set to say, well, whatever.
You don't think you're that beat her up though? Be honest.
Well, that would be my ultimate aim. Me not go down so easy.
Colleen, yes, you said KD in our prime. You in your prime. Talk to me. KD, are you?
I would beat KD for sure.
Oh my gosh!
KD needs to work on her left hand. KD needs to work on her left hand a little bit more.
Yes.
So I'm just send her left. I'm just going to send her left. That's
my gosh. She do a market research and a player research, so she good to go. All right, see it here now. So Colleen, you are Willard Wells.
No, hands on me. Willard have to try and catch me.
Yeah, you know what? Big up to the court. Me, I said, the coach build the court, that man here.
Yes, definitely.
Hey,
we have to give some shout out to you, man.
Interview the coach.
Definitely.
I remember, trust me, I was around for their story. And when you listen for all that he did and how he invested in these young ladies, it's a phenomenal story in our basketball history that needs to be told again. I mean, I'm telling you, I learned about them as a player. And when you hear what he did, and I was able to see him in action from courtside, you take them away and say, oh, guys, do this, do that. You know, from a skill level, I thought he was really good. He really developed them to a level where you can say, yo, a man we are playing against. Like, you know, you have the female ballers, and then you have the ones like Obi and probably Sasha and Melissa, and you're like, yo, it feel like one man. Even Peggy, even Tantan, you're like, yo, one man we are playing against. Like, you can't play her like a girl.
Listen carefully, viewers. Let me tell this straight up. We have to go about next 10 minutes where I give them a sign out. So for now, we just have a conversation and discussion, because guess what? I constantly hear females come on the program and they mention how important it is for you guys to have your own league. And we have 3 females here now. Yeah, these are, I can tell you, these are questions that constantly I hear as I come off the program. Person call me, WhatsApp me. Sometimes I lock off my phone, not to disrespect, but really, I need to get some sleep. Why you want to have conversation with 3 a.m.? That don't make no sense. You get me? But come on, ladies and said, Colleen, what you think? What we need to do? We need to get this league up. We have been hearing about it and the talk over and over. What's the first step? What's the first step?
All right, for me, the first step is that we need to just decide that we're gonna play. That's the first thing. We need a commitment from the team. I've seen where one-day competitions have been held, where we are all friends with referees or even budding referees. I know, for one, there was a program for new referees as a way to earn their certificates. They'll come and they'll referee these type of games to earn their refereeing certification. Yes. So we need to engage that in that regard. So you don't really need even true referees. You need to just decide that we're going to come together and we're going to play ball once a month tournament. Every bi-monthly tournaments where the teams can just come and play. You don't have to even the full 5 court. You can just even say a bunch of girls show up and we run some 3-on-3 basketball. That's one thing that we did.
We need. Yeah, listen, we're going to stop talking. We're going to start. Willard, remind me. I'm going to write the names and I'm going to call out the persons who I need to lean on and pressure them to ensure that this takes place. Rowan Robinson always attack. He's the one saying he's pushing the female league. I'm saying it out publicly. Rowan, if COVID finish and the pandemic kind of ease up, I'm going to see the woman league, they're going to cost you every single day. Every single day. Get it done.
I never get to see unique ballers them play like in person. See, Michael, I say, yo, you never
Michael, I chill on him, you know.
I say, never know ladies could have played basketball at a high level until they meet.
Until him see unique.
Yeah.
Tracy, you mentioned earlier when KD, I'm trying to remember, when KD mentioned to you about was a college league, you said before you even start warm up, the basically league finished because I didn't get a chance to play enough game. I am saying, what would you suggest for these university and college to ensure that there's a female basketball team? But there's no question, netball and basketball is brother and sister. Normally, if you find someone good at netball, you can easily show them the skill of a basketball. So why all these universities have netball team, but still you can't produce not even a basic basketball team to compete? 2-3 teams is unacceptable. What can we do, Tracey-Ann? What is your suggestion? Can we hold the university to they must have a basketball team? If they don't have a netball team, can we join them?
Yeah, they need to do that. Yeah, we need to do that. Because like I said before, when they start, as I start in the league, when they start spice, like when the spice start coming to everything and you feel nice and say, well, yeah.
4 players.
Before you know it, before you know it. No, sir. Before you know it.
Yes.
Yeah, so we really need to find a way. Whether we need to send, I'm not sure if it is a case where you don't have persons who are interested in playing, but maybe to sensitize them to the sport so they know like what they can gain from it, how they can benefit from being a part of such a program and all of that, because it's sad to really know, because I was hoping that the league would have had more teams participating and all of that, but because I remember UTEC was normally one of those dominant teams in the college league and all of that. So I was surprised to hear that they are not in it. I know, but I think Exedo would generally participate. So I'm not sure, maybe they need to combine like other universities or other colleges that are outside of the Kingston region. I'm not sure, maybe that Brownstone Comsey or Mobay Comsey to kind of build up. So I don't know, but I think probably they need to consider different measures that can be put in place to really help with basketball at that level, because it is really sad.
Okay, here's a big surprise, Willard. Here's a big surprise that the viewers are gonna get, because you were backstage a while ago. You and Colleen talk, and you said to Colleen, "Say, we never know say that's a female league did bad, and them go overseas go beat up people." Yeah, Colleen.
The female.
Colleen. We hear Tracey-Ann mention also. Come here, there write down a few things so that the preparation is like 2-3 weeks before a major competition. Back then, when you have kickoff, people face on court and dominate and now winning a thing, was that the same format as in you guys got a small, not that much time to train and still perform at a high level, or did you have sufficient time to get your craft together?
You're talking about my club team?
No,
Colleen, national.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Normally, we wouldn't have had the same sufficient time in regards to the national program. However, what you had was greater involvement at the local level. So, for example, I played for Mr. Natty team. So you know that on a Sunday morning, a Wednesday evening, and then you'd have had homework. Then there was the national training. We had a consistent national training program for the development squad. So every Saturday morning, I remember when Burger King used to sponsor us. That was like over 20 years ago. We'd meet at Burger King, New Kingston, every Saturday morning at 5:30, and Burger King would feed us. And then promptly after them feeding us, we would have to line up and jog. For those who were late, you would have to jog to the training grounds at Michael. And then after you jog to the training grounds at Michael, you would have to do your requisite 10 laps. After the training program moved to the National Stadium, there was a regular laps around the stadium field. So there was that consistent training ground on that Saturday morning for the national program. And then you would have had the mini program that would have started right after that. So there was, with the loss of the national court, it has really hampered the home of basketball and hampered many training opportunities. However, by the time the national program started, you'd have had the international players coming in. So you find that the local players would be would have had a certain level of fitness to be able to contribute. You understand? With the senior team, because I was junior, with the senior team, they had more international players than the local players, and it was the same problem. They come together for 2 weeks. So the whole problem of building that camaraderie, where I'll know, for example, playing with even Obi, there's a certain things that we know. We're going to run our lanes. If Obi is double team, somebody's cut into the basket from the free throw line or baseline. There's a certain things that you know.
IQ
yeah.
up.
So Jamaica basketball has always suffered from that lack of building camaraderie and skill and getting to know the players. However, we have always usually would have had even 1 day a week where we had national team potentials training with various national coaches. And this is the Rowan Robinsons, this is the Chickens, this is the Mr. Natty, this is the Mr. Remiki, even the Calvin Martins. So you get the different, And I believe Tracy, your coach was a part of that at time. He would come in and teach some skill levels. So there was always some program going on. However, again, with the loss of the stadium court, we haven't had a home.
All right, let's integrate now, because I heard Tracy mention that when she went to Mexico, you were asking her if it was because of the speed. I'm moving a little bit forward now with Kimoya, who's on set also. Kimoya, the first time you've been to you went to China, what were some of the pros and cons when the coaches talk to you guys? Was it that the first squad who went to China, they saw a lot of good things, they saw a lot of things that they need to improve? How you feel as a player in that program?
Oh Lord, we were exposed to a totally different culture in every sense of the word. I mean, the training programs were really hectic. We had to run track, like we did a lot of 400 meters, and we had to meet at time. If you didn't meet that time, then you were going again and again until you met that time. We did a lot of gym work. Well, we had a day specific for gym. So like every Friday we would go to the gym and, lift weights. And we did a lot of gym routines. And then we had days specific for ball work where we focused on, different areas surrounding basketball, dribbling, shooting, defending, rebounding. And, we were just exposed to a totally different avenue of basketball. And I think the Chinese coaches, they admired our talent, but we were just far behind, in terms of our IQ and in terms of our skill level, So even making a left-hand layup was a challenge for most of us, knowing which leg to take off from when you're making a left-hand layup, that was a challenge, So I just think that here in Jamaica locally, what we can do is try to develop our young ladies from, a younger age, from high school, because even at the
That's smaller than that. All right.
So what leg you take off from when you make a left-hand layup?
What you know? Problem.
Never mind.
Problem.
Move on.
Problem. All right. We have to mention the good things, because earlier today I was talking to Willard, and like anytime I look at person and say, give me a feedback. Person think about the negative thing to say.
Right.
Positive feedback. Tracy, and you mentioned that the awareness is a little bit more now at the court. You find out that more persons are at the court playing basketball. The high school teams are involved back and forth. So these are things that we like and we love to hear, that the community is still getting involved in regards to building that love for basketball. However, I normally be hard and fast. Put back that question, Willard, that Shanika asked about investing in the ladies. I normally say, and Colleen, this question goes to you. I normally be straightforward. Now, I normally be straightforward and say to some players, you always talk about you want job investing on the back and forth. You invest in yourself, you put in the work where you need to put in, you ensure that what you do when you touch the court, somebody can say this person is an elite. I'm asking now, with this being said, Jamaica needs to invest more into the woman. I totally agree. But on a female perspective, you're looking at it. Do you believe that the female themselves are investing in their own talent?
All right, to be honest with you, for those who are involved in the sport of basketball, I think we, the individual, can do more. I remember when Tantan was here, she used to go out with Pumba at the time, and every morning they're at the court, at the court, at the court. However, Tracy's story, Tamika's story proved that also if you have a male to motivate, it can drive the female more. So sometimes I remember playing at Arden where many persons could come to the Saturday training until they did their chores. It was more like their siblings would say, all right, mega clean the house for you. You can go on this week. You understand? So you have to understand, say, with the females in sport, not just basketball, it's a multifaceted problem. One, we need to learn to motivate ourselves and make the time to work on our skills. However, statistics have shown that once we have a motivational person, coach, friend, spouse to help us, to drive us and to push us, you'll find that we'll be more motivated and interested. And three, we need to see where basketball can take us. Why should I leave my beloved game of netball where I'm seeing persons go overseas, make money making overseas, and I don't see an outlet for female? You understand? I don't know if I can get a scholarship. I don't know how I can make money. So therefore, better I go and study my little book, try upon my little netball skills, and stop waste my time with basketball. And it's really sad because there was a point in time when the women were winning at Central basketball and the men weren't. And the men weren't.
What is going? We improve. All right, but for real, female have been made in way and step forward, and we really need the persons to invest. That's what I'm saying. If the program don't highlight or push anything, we are ensuring that we push the persons who are supposed to start this local female league back up and running. We need to go and see female playing in their league. It's really unfair to have you not have a league and you're looking at a national team. Where you get the players them from?
Yeah, Gary, but as I said, Tracy's story alone, where she just had that coach who found the players. You understand? So we don't have to wait on Jabba. Right now, I know there are many programs going on, and every one of us know a female basketballer. Bring us out from retirement. Invite us to come in and play some ball. See how many people
bring Tracy coach. And bring Tracy
Stop
coach.
waiting on Jabba, and then what you will find is that you can get social media buzz, and then you can show, say, hey, we held this tournament. Jabba, come in, get the Gleaner persons to come and show that we are hosting this. And that is how to build it back. That's called grassroots basketball. When I started to play basketball, there was no female league per se. When other persons used to get scholarship, the Oberon Petersons, the Connie Francis before us, there was no real female league. Like, it was like once a year, end of story. Then the girls that went back and played their netball. It was the coaches them that were going and picking up players. For Walgrove, for example, Miss Anati used to drive up and down for everybody. So like me, I'm through the door at 5 o'clock because I have the Portmore pickup, we have the Kingston pickup. And him going and if there's a junior player, he goes and introduces himself to the parent, get them to know them, invite them to the games, invite them to the training. And if there are certain problems and issues, the club will support. And that I can tell you, a lot of the Walgrovian players had that success because we had a Mr. Natty beating down our doors and calling our parents to say, come and play some basketball. It wasn't Jabba who did that.
Facts. And Willard, with Colleen even mentioned about, and I normally push and say players giving back also. As she said, come out of retirement. I don't want, we got to hear the Bengay and the Radiant B, so in case you have a little muscle ache. However, when you find out, say, you have a player like Mike Rogers, Willard, you know, superior player with a work on the game, but him still find the time to go to the high school court, by the high school team, and work with the program. And next player, you might say, Flimmo say, I usually attend the school, I assist. I realize players are not giving back that way, as in players want. Even at this stage of your life, you don't want to go assist a high school team. Because teach one, you learn also. I always think you learn better when you try and teach whatever is to be executed. So players, females, you don't have to come out and run on the court and grave up like Colleen and go twist your ankle, but you can go to a high school and say, we can start up a team and I will assist maybe a 1 or 2 day and ensure that the game continue. So Tracey-Ann, I don't know when we're gonna come at Chilana, but we need to come and visit that court, touch the basketball court and get things going. KD is your personal friend, so just hail her up and let her feel welcome. Because I personally glad that she's here. I love that story, the motivation, traveling back and forth. Age 19 to start play the sport.
Tell us, I need for me to coach them, man.
Yes, sir.
Tell you, man, yo, man, I tell you, yo, I'm from 9, will you play and make a team, you know?
Now that's never shame. Ask me which country I go. I never got China. I never got Mexico.
Then go Mexico and all them.
I never got Denmark.
Let me just say for the record that I'm a big fan of you, Tracy and Kelly, and I hope to be, like you one day or even close to you one day. So thank you for being an inspiration for players like me and, other female players in Jamaica. We appreciate it.
I am a fan also.
Thank
I
you.
never know say you start play when you're 19. I think say I play for you see me if I coach like that, I coach Fabian, you know I'm firing him there.
Yeah. So from the interview squad, a big thank you, Tracy, and it was a pleasure having you on set. And I just think we might need a next interview with you and coach, and we can really go through that story because it's a story that needs to be told. So thanks again.
It was a pleasure being here too. Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I see your friends in a room or your family are hail you up and you talk to them, so they can go now and just have that discussion. So it was a good interview. All right, cool. Stacey and Robin, so big up. All right, bye. Willard.
Bye.
I see even one of my Sabrina Buckingham. I don't know if you see her post. I think she's about 13, 14 at St. Hugh's. She took the opportunity to join the program because she said she heard about it and she just wants to see what it's all about. And these are the little things we like to see. Young players want to be educated through whatever platform or medium when they come on to basketball. So shout out to the young kids who are tuning in. Shanika Smith, we need to invite you on set. You have a lot of questions and
yes.
And I'm saying you have a lot to say. And persons want to hear from you. So I don't know if I need to go and stalk your Instagram page, but I'm saying it publicly. We need to get you.
I see her play already.
Definitely. Colleen, it was just refreshing having you on set to assist with the female, because we are pushing it. We want to say girls power. I want to ensure that whatever we are doing, there's no gender left out. Although we know two persons you have more genders, we know where it comes from. However, we are just want to make everybody unite and we push basketball. And
can anybody answer Shanika right here?
What you say?
Colleen?
If we ask a coach at GC Faster, you and I, and you
say
to use, or you say to use their gym, will they give it without something in return? For that, I don't think no coach have the power to just give you the gym basically. Or it normally do, you have to go to the headmaster, basically the person who is in charge of the entire college. They write up. And normally, if the time is right, I don't see them stopping it. You might pay a fee back and forth, but it's not a coach decision. I can say that much. You have to go to the person who's in charge. It's not. The gym is not really signed off to the coach to make decisions like that.
We also need to remember that gyms normally have associated fees such as electricity and water fees, as well as the ancillary staff fees. So they can't just offer a gym. There are other aspects that goes into managing a gym. So there's an MOU that will need to be signed and everything. So it's not as simple as we think it is.
Yeah, and as I said, multi-purpose court, all of them. You find out volleyball, play badminton, table tennis, a lot of different sports always clash. And that is normally the issue, Shanika. But once basketball can present a calendar, you can sit down with them and decide and you pay a fee and things can take place. Right. But again, interview squad in the building. Girls Tuesday, we just had Tracy-Ann Kelly from Trelawny, very good basketball player, beautiful on the court. She looked like, I can't believe that she started to play late, age 19, but still she excelled in the sport because of the love for it. And she had a wonderful story, or her coach inspired her moving from Trelawny to Kingston to play. They develop what they call the unique team. That's what name?
Yeah, unique players.
Unique team. And they come and beat, and them come beat up Kingston team. Sorry, not have that on tape.
David, they record all the games.
No, probably the coach has, because as she said, he used to tape all their games. The coach
Okay.
so maybe he could dig up the archives and we could utilize it.
Yep,
to
definitely.
So maybe we'll post that next interview. We're on Friday, Willard.
Yes.
Is it Friday? Friday we have
Friday at 7. Is it 7, right? Yes.
Yes.
Garfield Richards.
Garfield Richards will be on set. And also let them know Garfield on Friday, and on Sunday we have Mr. Porter from Urban Knights versus Garden Porter to talk about management. And as you know, Urban Knights team is one of those teams in Jamaica that we really say that always raise the stakes. So we'll have that discussion. The founding president, Mr. Porter. So
as a young boy, I go watch me usually wonder why them, everybody have the same bag.
Yes. So we're going to pick him brain and see what is going on and see everything. So from the interview squad, Tuesday night, big up on yourself, as you know. And thanks for joining.
Thanks to everybody that tuned in to this discussion, this interview. All the new viewers, please follow, subscribe, like, share, tell your friend them.
Tell your friends. Promote basketball.
Willard, Jamaica Basketball Project. Go and check it out.
Yeah, man.
Rick Turner, big up yourself. I think today is his birthday, so Rick Turner, big up yourself. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Jamaica, happy birthday to man. We say happy Earth strong. Big up yourself, youth. All right, cool. Nicole, nice to see you.
Run, go away. But they are ready. I don't know where you're at.
Nicole just want to mash you up, Big up yourself, Nicole.
I am
here. You have staff meeting this morning, Nicole. You're tired?
Yep. Oh, yes. We are also on Spotify.
Yes.
So every interview what we do so far will be going up. We're up to episode 5. So you can check it out on Spotify. Jamrock interviews.
We are venturing different platforms, so just look out for us.
So you can listen to it and you have to just watch. You understand? Thanks for viewing.
Cool. We're out.
We are out. Well, I'm going to play the out song.